Somebody calls me now.
Dave, first day, 20,000 to call.
Sorry, I'm not...
in my favour though.
So David Daddick looking at his cards. Now you see we've got a lot of different coloured chips there. For those of you who don't know at home, the pink chips are worth 1,000, the grey chips are worth 5,000, and the purple chips are worth 10,000.
And I could safely say I've never had that many purple chips in all my All Africas added together.
Well, congratulations, it's a milestone for you, Dave.
Right, so Gilbert Basilio. We saw him knock off Neville Eba a little while ago.
I think he's even changed his shirts in this episode, so he's giving us a bit of a fashion show apparently.
Yeah, well, like I say, it's a long, hard morning. I must say I was feeling the pinch in certain spots here. It was
Up to 60.
quite a pressured situation. There you hear now Gilbert Milheiro with a pair of 8s makes it 65,000 to go.
Rheeder's got a thought, thinking very hard about this decision.
I think at that stage when I folded it and you covered me.
What do you mean?
70 when I folded it in.
Now, Andre Rheeder, who doubled through Milheiro a little while ago at the start of the episode, the start of the day. Exactly with Milheiro's hand here, a pair of 8s.
I don't think so.
And he's lost a lot of chips since we last saw him in a hand. So it is getting desperate now. He is, well, as far as he knows, in the money.
I must just tell you, Caitlin, when the blinds are 10,000, 20,000 or 15,000, 30,000, those stacks of even 300-400 grand, they decline very quickly and at a rapid rate.
You're sure go all in? Yeah. And you'll see after.
And before you know it, you're moving in for your life again.
You're sure go all in and you'll see after. Same position that you're sitting in.
So Rheeder, still haven't quite seen his hand yet, but he's obviously got something to think about. Maybe he's got some kind of ace.
And you can see his Bloemfontein crew sitting in the background supporting him all the way.
And he'll eventually give it up, so he chooses this not to be the spot. Now, Conrad Kutso has been very quiet in this episode so far. He's now got something that he maybe wants to get involved with. He hasn't been involved in this episode for the entire episode so far. And I must just tell you that despite the fact that we don't see him in action here, I sat next to him for that entire morning. He was actually quite active. He was raising a lot of pots to try to pick up the blinds and antes. And here you see him, he's being his normal Conrad Kutzer self. He's announced re-raise with King 8.
How much does he have behind?
Miguel asking how many chips Conrad's got. How does that affect your decision, Dave?
Well, often these guys just like to get a tell on how strong you are by how you give your answer and how the situation will make you sweat if you're confident, if you're not, if you look weak, if you look like you might be on some kind of steel. But one thing about Conrad, he's been in this situation many, many times, and to get a tell of him is very, very difficult. So there's that, plus the fact that you yourself want to know, listen, if I do play this hand, how much can I win? If I lose this hand, how much am I going to suffer in terms of damage? And is this the kind of opponent that if I take a misstep against me, is he going to pound me? And Conrad's definitely one of those kinds of opponents. If you don't play the hand correctly and to the best of your ability, he'll be on you. But you can see he's very, very, very stoic and statuesque.
I don't think statuesque is quite the word.
I mean, I did for a second think that he had ace jack, but I'm not.
He didn't, that doesn't look like a statue.
Just very still.
He's just acting like one.
Ace jack or king jack may have folded.
Not a good looking statue anyway.
As it happens, but
So Gilbert Milheiro, will he call the pair of 8s?
100%. What I'm trying to say is if he did have ace jack or king jack, I did get lucky to find the queen. But I mean, it's a sick hand to raise up with jack 9, and I call it jack.
Thinking very hard. Now at this stage, does making the final table affect your decision to play or not to play?
You know, Caitlin, although I haven't had much success at the All Africa tournament, I've played a lot of tournaments all over the world and had a lot of success. And you know, when the guy announced that this was the 80,000 rand for 11th spot, I thought to myself, well, I'm secured quite a lot of money already, so I'm just going to play whatever the situation is. I'm going to play the best that I can play.
So into the chip count at our featured table, David Daddick is the chip leader. Look at that, he's taken over from Miguel Milheiro. Just behind him, Conrad Kutzer, and Dion Anthony, who's lost quite a bit of chips, is in 5th position.
And this is your chip count for the tournament. Darren Kramer, our first millionaire. He's gone through the million mark, and Nick Sisu, 12 grand behind that. So it's all the good names, Rami, Kutzer, Anthony, they're all there, and it's really, really close to that final table.
So you missed out your own name there, Dave.
Thank you.
Ah, Caitlin, I'm just glad to be able to watch myself.
Oh.
Conrad for 30. Dave for 30.
Right, so David Daddick,
Wayne.
stack quite sizable, he'll let go.
Dion Anthony has lost a lot of chips. He is the lowest of the chip counts at the feature table.
And now one thing you can be sure is that we lost Rami in 13th spot, so there's basically 12 players left. It's 2 tables of 6, which is basically short-handed. And you must understand, with the stacks being this size, those blinds come around really quickly. It adds to the pressure of the short stacks, but it also adds to the pressure of the feel of the tournament as a whole, because you start finding yourself calling weaker hands and playing weaker hands more aggressively. One, because you've got the chips, and 2, because it's short-handed. So obviously the strength of the hands increases being short-handed.
And you can see that quite a lot of time has passed here, because if you saw on the screen in the background there, the blinds have gone up to 15,000 and 30,000 with a 3,000 ante. So every hand you're losing 3,000, and every 4th or 5th hand you're losing 45,000.
Yeah, it's quite insanity at this time. I know my stack looks quite sizable there still, but I can promise you that I gave away a lot of chips playing overly aggressively at this point, simply because I realized that I had already picked up a lot of money and I had a lot of chips. So I maybe should have slowed down a little bit, considering the final table was approaching, but I was trying to act as the table captain short-handed. And well, if you don't find form, can cost you chips. Now, Milheiro is trying to pick up blinds and antes of Queen 4. Rheeder on the short stack has got an ace in the big blind. He's already got 40,000 out there.
And he's taken his little F1 car and put it on top of his cot, looking to race apparently.
Don't you like to play a lot of chips? I do.
So Milheiro, who's just trying to pick up the cheap blind there of 30,000 plus the antes in the middle.
Wow.
He's moved in. It's already 300,000 to Rheeder, which is basically how much it would be to cover him. He's got much more than that in front of him, obviously.
Is that right, huh? Yeah.
And
Thinking very hard, eyes closed.
will Rheeder choose this spot to look for a double up to push back at Milheiro? Milheiro has been playing pretty conscientiously in this tournament so far. Hasn't been coming along with a lot of garbage. I think this is probably the first time we've seen him get into a pot with absolute rags.
Yeah. Eh?
So you can see in the background while they're busy with the hand, our tournament director Sandy Kerr is chipping out some of the chips just to make the stack slightly smaller, make it easier to play. It makes the hands go a lot faster.
That's very wrong.
Yeah, those yellow ones are 20,000 a pop. And Rheeder has pushed back at Milheiro, and fortunately he hasn't got an insta call. So Rheeder knows that he chose a good spot, and I don't see Milheiro calling this.
And I think if you heard in the background, someone walked into the tournament room and actually said that we were in the money. He was in 12th position. So I think that did affect his call.
That you can show a card when your head's up?
Show a card your hands please.
Yeah, I think I was actually sitting there. One of the Bloemfontein crew walked into the feature room and
20, 40, 60.
What's that?
20, 40, 60.
Your timing was great. You walked in and told him he's got the money. He's in the money in his ship.
There you can see Dion Anthony just confirming what we're saying. Does affect your decision knowing how far you are in the tournament, how many players are in.
yeah, I must say I didn't appreciate that comment from the rail too much myself. And this is exactly where it is. It's Dale Winterstein, who obviously went out around the same time that this hand was actually being played in the feature room.
Up against Darren Kramer, always a scary opponent.
So 30 previous champion has got my girls, but he's picked the hardest customer in the room, the millionaire, Darren Kramer. It's a good flop for Winterstein. Wow, 3 will seal the deal. Will he get past Kramer here? And it's a queen on the turn like frickin' chocolates.
3 or 6 on the river, and it's not to be. And previous champion Dale Winterstein exits the tournament in 12th position.
Yeah.
And now we are officially in the money.